Peter's going to start. Hello and grand rising, everyone. This is the Wednesday night Oasis at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Sally Bartholomew. I am a staff minister and the secretary of the board here at the Oakland Center, and I welcome you to our midweek Oasis. You will experience tonight that the Wednesday night Oasis is a place where we come together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. We build upon the theme of the previous Sunday, sharing in a satsang style, which is informal, intimate, and interactive. And tonight, we have a real treat. Once again, because we've done this before, we are bringing in two speakers to have a conversation, and we get to listen into that conversation and be pulled into the conversation as well. So our annual theme at the Centers for Spiritual Living for 2024 is a grand rising. And the January theme is this same thing, a grand rising. Now, last Sunday, Reverend Mitch Austin introduced ideas inspired by the talk title of It's a New Dawn. And tonight, our returning speaker will continue the exploration of this same topic. So, I welcome you. I saw a lot of familiar faces in the gallery before we got started. But if you've navigated yourself to our YouTube channel and you're new, I want to welcome you. And I also want to encourage you to navigate over to our website, www.oaklandcsl.org. When you're there, you can click on the I'm New icon. And when you do, give us your email address and we will start sharing with you once a week the village newsletter. And in it, you'll find out what's happening at the center over the next couple of weeks. So before we get started, I want to give us some housekeeping notes. We've noted that on Zoom, our audio recording is best when everyone except the speakers has their audio turned off. So mute your microphone. It's okay to leave your video open if you'd like, so that the speakers, when they're in gallery view, can see your reaction to what they're saying, but please keep your audio microphones muted. If you don't, and it's a problem, our tech folks in the background will mute your microphone. Okay, so stay tuned all the way to the end of service, where I'll be sharing some special and important announcements about what's coming up. In the meantime, as our beloved practitioner Dorothy Mendez likes to say, buckle your seatbelts because I'm about to introduce our speakers. This evening, we will be listening to that conversation from Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman. You know her as our senior minister here at the Oakland Center. And our special guest is once again Grady Nobles. Now, Grady May has been a long time participant in the New Thought and Science of Mind churches. You know, as a child, she listened to Ernest Holmes on the radio. Wouldn't you love to have done that? So anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to ask Reverend Sunshine who would like to pray us in this evening, and we will get started right away. Reverend Sunshine?
Thank you, Reverend Sally. I have asked one of our new practitioners, Alice Newson, if she would pray us in, and she said yes.
So everyone, just allow your eyes to close and take a nice deep breath in and out. And just allow yourself to go within into that sacred sanctuary inside, where the power and the presence of the One resides. and just breathing into that presence. I know that God is all there is, that God is love and harmony and grace and forever present. And what a blessing it is to know that we are one with the one, and that this one, this godness, this goodness is perfect, whole, and complete, constantly blessing us, providing us in an infinite amount of ways with an abundant life, an abundance of love and peace and equanimity. And what a joy it is to know this spiritual truth that God is forever present, all wise, all knowing, on, forever and always. And I know that I am one with God, and God is one with me. And that as this is true for myself, it is true for everyone here tonight. Everyone who listens to this talk later on, whenever the moment arises, God is always present. And so I bless this time together, knowing that we are in sacred timing and Spirit is guiding us. And what a blessing it is knowing tonight that Grady and Reverend Sunshine are here to serve us, to share their wisdom with us, to bless us with all the gems they are offering us. And God is here, and God is good, and it is all good. And so please join me in saying, and so it is.
So it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
Amen. Mhm.
All right. Well, I think it's bounced to us. And I just want to say as a disclaimer that Miss Grady and I are in my office. We're sitting side by side, but we're going to try to focus on the camera. But if you see us turn that way, that's because we're looking at each other. You know how it is when you talk to each other and you want to look at each other. So this is an interesting configuration. And as Reverend Sally said, I just wanted to have a conversation with Miss Grady and allow y'all in on the conversation because we have such a good time on a variety of topics. And as many of you know, when I first got here over a year ago, I quickly heard about Miss Gradyisms. No, I call her Ms. Gradyisms, right? And so she says these wonderful, wise statements all the time. I heard one today on a call that I was on about a Gradyism. And so it got me curious. And sure enough, when I started talking to her, I could tell why they were labeled Gradyisms because she just has these little quips back and forth. So Spirit dropped it down to invite her onto the Oasis and have a conversation with her. I'm telling on her. She said, "No, Reverend, nobody wants to hear what I said. Miss Grady, you just better stop it because you have such a following." And everybody so enjoyed it the last time she was here that this is an encore. And I felt that because we're kicking off this new year and this month with our global Centers for Spiritual Living global themes of a grand rising. And when I heard how a grand rising came about, I thought, well, what a better way than to start this series this year, the first of, with one of our elders and one of our African American elders. Because just a quick story, what I've heard about a grand rising, and I haven't even heard about it too much, is that it's common in the African American community in particular as a way to greet the morning instead of saying good morning. And so I did some research online and heard about this word. I know of it, but didn't know the word, a homonym, where you have two words that are the same, but they're spelled differently and they have different meanings. So we know good morning to greet the new day of the morning. But it is also mourning as if as in we're in grief and we're mourning something. So rather than to say good morning from a place of mourning the day, this grand rising has come forward to signify that we're rising up, we're rising into the day. It's a new dawn, which is the topic for this past Sunday. And that, you know, that in the African cultures, we believe that as we dream and as we sleep, that we go elsewhere. There's a lot of other cultures that feel like that too. So when you drop back into this human consciousness and awareness, we're in a grand rising to greet the day and to call in our ancestors to help us and what have you. So I just loved that. And I said that to Miss Grady one day. I proposed her coming and I said, well, you heard of Grand Rising? She hadn't quite, but once I said what I just said to you, she said, what did you say, Miss Grady? What do you think about a Grand Rising? Tell me what's your side of a Grand Rising?
What is my side of it?
Yeah, how do you think about a Grand Rising?
How do I think of it? I think of it as rising up, like, out of the bed, getting out of bed. I think of it as something that's, positive, a spiritual positiveness. And I think of it as well, the grand part is magnificence, and the rising part is getting up, being in gratitude, giving thanks, that I've awakened out of a sleep, and that, is somewhat like, a death, because, just laying there, all night. So you get to awaken to the gift of a new day. And I like the way it sounds. And I hope to use it at least maybe this month and maybe all year, but I like the way it sounds. And it has other meanings too. I did a little research and came across a few things, and so that's what I think about it. I think it's a wonderful way to start.
And my grandmother used to say that she was grateful to wake up in her right mind on this side of the veil. You heard of that, right? Right. And so we rise into that, and it's a great time. Well, and we're also talking about today, it's a new dawn. So within the spectrum of a grand rising, it's a new dawn, and it's a new moment. It's a new horizon. You know, the horizon is always out there, but it's made anew, I would think, and the horizon goes on forever. So what do you think about that? It's a new dawn. What would you say about it's a new dawn?
Well, I think it invites one to be in gratitude and pay attention to the day, and also pay attention to living forward in the day, and just being grateful and setting some intention. What am I going to do with this day? I'm just not going to let it just go by. I'm going to have some purpose in it for myself, and and for everything else, for everybody else. And so what can I do? How can I serve? How can I make a difference in today, in my functioning, and in the world? Who can I pray for today? Even if somebody's walking along the street, never seen them, don't know anything about them, but I can pray for them.
I love that. And when I hear you say living forward, it makes me think, Miss Grady, about paying it forward. Have you heard about that, where you pay it forward? So you do a good deed for somebody else, and then you pay it for the next person. I used to, when we were doing bridge tolls before the pandemic, I used to pay for the car behind me, and I used to get a kick out of watching them in my rearview mirror, and the toll taker, telling them about that, and they, pause, there's a long pause. So paying it forward, living it forward. So we get to live into this new dawn consciously with awareness, right?
Yes.
And you go around praying for people.
Yes.
You do?
Oh, I do.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I love that. With intention and awareness, I would say.
Yes.
You know, and I'm getting all of these topics kind of mixed up because Sunday I'm thinking about the topic is it's a new day. So then I started thinking about it's a new dawn, it's a new day. What's the difference between it's a new dawn and it's a new day? I have some thoughts, but do you have any?
No, I kind of think of it as the same
The same
thing.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the dawn, you know, it's a new dawning, you know, the
Mhm.
sunrise happens, the sun comes up.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, the day comes up, right?
Yes,
So you
yes.
could split hairs and
Yes.
say
Mhm.
one thing or another.
I agree.
Well, if you know, is there anything else you want to add into this commentary about grand rising? It's a new dawn. I mean, you know, I'm ready to hear some of your Gradyisms, not to put you on the spot. But, but what's some of your wisdom that you've learned in your years about how do you know, when it's a new day, let me say it this way. When it's a new day, in my mind, you have to put behind you some of the things that some of us are stubborn about that we want to hold on to in this human experience. We don't want to let go of that. So in order to have a new day, to me, it has to be a new way of thinking, a new dawn. We have to wake up to something new. And how do we do that? Sometimes it's hard. What do you say?
Well, I think it just goes, back to this teaching and learning and learning and teaching. I really do, because I got a hold of the book. The exact same size as the Abundance book, but it's an oldie but goodie. What religious science teaches.
Mhm.
And I read in there about fear. And I've read things and thought about fear before, but there's something about going back and looking at things. And I think that's the value of midweek, like, I call this midweek, and also Sunday, and any kind of teaching, any kind of classes, because there may have been 20 years ago that I took a class. Well, I need a refresher, I need a review. I need to um, remember to remember, as Dodie says. And so I read the fear part, and then I was thinking about mourning and grief and worry. And so I went on this long thing about worrying and what it means. And this is what I think.
Mm.
A system is set up programmed to say yes. And so, and this is, how we live forward, I believe. What does a system that's set up to say yes do with worry? And I've thought about worry over the years, because I want to not be in that frame of mind, not get in that frame of mind. So I feel I know what worry is and does. I think that worry is the same thing as praying for what you don't want. Because it has to be, if the universe is always saying yes, well, wouldn't it say yes to whatever I'm worrying about also?
She's
So,
teaching here, y'all.
Hmm?
Listen. Keep going.
so that's what I'm thinking. And I've thought about that before. I know that I've been a person in grief for way too long, that it after a while, it just is a something that can just drag you down. It just does. And so I've thought about that, and I've thought about all these things. I've thought about um, examining myself and how I do that, because really, until I encountered a practitioner, I wouldn't even bother to look at examining me. I didn't want to. I didn't want to peel any onion or go through any of that. I just didn't want to do it. I didn't see the value in it. But gradually over time, I came to be able to accept it and to be able to hold it up, turn it all around, see all the sides of it and explore it and be okay with it. But it took a long time for me to get there, but I finally did. And I find I just have so much more joy and clarity, after going through that process and getting rid of the, even if I fear it a little bit, doing it anyway, and it's valuable to me. So I can go off on tangents all the time, and I get an opportunity to do that in the Dr. Dan group, for example, because there is so much teaching and learning and teaching in that, that book, that process and the sharing that people do, that it's just so I just value it tremendously.
Oh my
There-
goodness, boy, I've been taking notes and there's so many things I could say. I like the learning and teaching and learning because we're all teachers, we're all learners, and we all can benefit from each other. And while our systems, you talk about systems, is hierarchical in some ways, it's set up, but this one is this thing, this one is this thing. We're all in this thing together. That's why I love beloved community. And if we all live together and breathe and move together, we're going to learn from each other and we're going to teach each other. So surrendering into that. The worry and pray came up in one of my other groups today as a Gradyism. Whatever you say, there's some statement that you make about worry and pray or what have you. But you're right. In that, and it caused somebody to quote our beloved ancestor on the other side. Y'all will remember Nana Hartzell, who she and Don Hartzell, who was the choir director of the Clarewood Singers, and Nana was a practitioner and a master teacher. Someone in the Abundance book session today said, trust would handle every problem now. Trust would handle every problem now. So any problem that you have, basically, if you have trust, it would be handled. The same with the abundance book. If we follow the abundance affirmations and really get steeped in that, there's no place for fear in there. That doesn't mean we can't bring the fear, but if we're standing in the fullness of what it is saying, and the allness of God is our source, our supply, and our substance. And all we need to worry about is our consciousness of that. It's not, this program is not just about money. It's about our consciousness of and our trust and our faith in the abundance that is ours to claim, that's already our divine birthright. But what holds us back, you said it, is fear. What holds us back, somebody else said it too on the call today. Because they were saying there's one of the affirmations, you'll know because she has her book with her, so she's doing the abundance book. There's one of the 10 affirmations that talks about restoring the years that the locusts have eaten. And the person that was saying it was saying, that language, I don't care for it very much. She said, and I said, write it in your own language. Read this thing over here, but write the affirmation in your own language. And you know what she said? I'm going to substitute the locust for fear, because I want to restore all the years that fear has prevented me from accomplishing whatever. Fear is the genesis of so many of our ills, isn't it? So many of our problems. And the other thing I want to say, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you. I love some of the things all the things you said, Miss Grady. That's why I just love you. Can I just say I just love you? We have so much fun here. We just wanted y'all to see how much fun we have together, right? So she was teaching science of mind principle, because Miss Grady said the system is set up to say yes. That is how the universe works. That's what we believe in our science of mind principle, that no matter what you say, that fertile soil of the universe is going to say, yep. So you have to be careful of what you say and how you say it. I am sick. Yep, you are.
Mm.
I am whole, perfect, and complete. Yes, you are.
Mm.
It says yes to any and everything you say. That's why we have to be careful about how we language and what we think. That's why it's about consciousness. It's our consciousness that needs to be scrubbed and cleaned, and we need to remind ourselves to do that and have others to remind us. So thank you for saying all those things. See, she pulling out her pen now. Maybe I said something that she wants to either check off or, okay, what else you gotta say? I'm bouncing it back to
Because
you.
it is all about the consciousness.
Isn't it?
It is.
Yes, all about the consciousness.
It is.
It's all about the consciousness. I love it. And I love that you said to have a refresher. It doesn't matter how long you've been in this teaching or any other teaching. We all need to be refreshed.
Mhm.
We all need to be refreshed. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about that a little bit on Sunday. So y'all getting a preview because it's a new day and there is a new way. There is a new way to do it. How many times do we drive home the same way all the time? How are you going to see something new necessarily if you're going the same way and looking in the same direction? That you have to train yourself to look the other direction. Go a different way. Tie your shoe a different way. And if you don't wear tie-up shoes like I often don't, put some tie-up shoes on so you can see how to tie a shoe or buckle it or zip it or what have you. Do it differently. How can you do it different? And then then you allow that newness to come forth, the new dawn. How are you going to greet the new dawn if you're looking at the old thing over there?
Mhm.
What else, Miss Grady?
It's being here in this place, this atmosphere. This is such a beautiful campus, I call it. And being, near the same, this prayed up place. There's it's worth coming to and being in. And there are other ways to do it, but I want us to come in mass and be here because just to appreciate it and to show it off too. It's beautiful and it's peaceful and it's wonderful and it feels so good. I came in here today and I just instantly felt it.
And Miss Grady, I got one of your Gradyisms too. I get to. Now you say that all the time. You know I'm wearing that out. I get to come here every day. I get to. My office is right off this sanctuary, right near this labyrinth, right in this space that has been so prayed up for all these decades, right?
Yeah.
So I feel so blessed to even be able to do that. To have you sitting in my office. Oh my goodness. To have this presence in my office that I get to come into. Can y'all imagine? Oh my goodness. Well, Miss Grady, you think we want to, oh, one more thing before we open it up. And then maybe you'll have something else to say, but maybe we can ask the audience some questions.
Okay.
You think, and see what they have to say?
Okay.
Okay, but here's something I really like what you said. I heard you say that at one point you were reluctant to dive in to work through some stuff, but something gave you the impetus to hold it up, you said, and to look all the way around it and to be okay with it and to work it through. That to me is accountability. That to me is using your faith. That to me is using your principles. How did you do that? Like, how did you move over into feeling okay about looking at hard things?
It's probably a compilation of a lot of people over a lot of years, but it was one particular practitioner. And I don't know how to explain it except that it was a gentleness in following the lead of this practitioner. Because if somebody had asked me, what do you like about this practitioner? I would say the same thing that I don't like, because I know something is going to be said to me, which will make me go to a place I probably don't want to go to, but I go there and I make a step each time. And so this process took about a year, I call this person my human Rubik's Cube. Because a Rubik's Cube is something that I wouldn't want to even approach. It would be something that my baby brother could just deal with, and it would be simple to him. But to me, it would represent something, I'm not going to even try to do that. I'm going to stay away from it. But this person had, you know, in this gentle leading, one day I could pick up what the thing was I didn't want to deal with and turn it to all the sides and look at it. And it was okay. I wasn't in that fear anymore.
So it took time, but what I hear is perseverance and determination. You just, and openness and willingness, some of the things we talk about all the time. You just kept at it and you saw results.
Maybe it had to do with trust too. You mentioned trust just
Yeah.
a moment ago too. Maybe it had to do with that
That
because
you trusted your practitioner to be telling you right,
Mhm.
so that you would try it. You hear that, y'all? Go to your practitioner. I didn't pay her to say that. I love it. I love it. I go to mine all the time. You know, I know what you're talking about. Go even if you don't have a problem. You know, that's what they say about the upper room here. It's not just that we're praying for a problem. We're standing in consciousness with you. That's what we're doing. I love
Mhm.
that. Well, is there anything in particular you want to know from the audience? What do we want to have them respond to? We're going to open up the floor. And what I'm going to do before she even says that is we're going to take hands. So, you know, the reaction bar at the bottom of your screen, you can raise your virtual hand. What's the question, Miss Grady? What do you want to know?
Well, I think do you have something you can go to? I think it's important to have something, a word or a sentence or a paragraph or a poem or something that you can go to, you know, when you want to um, center yourself, balance yourself, keep out something you don't want to be in your consciousness and focus on, you know, concentrate on what you want. And so it could be a word, peace or love or something like that. My go-to is God is, I am, and all is well. So I go to that. At one time there was the prayer of protection. I had memorized the whole thing, and I probably know most of it still. I want to get it in printed form again so I can go and see and, you know, have all the parts correct and that kind of thing. But what's your go-to to keep yourself centered and, you know, and be in the flow?
Is it just a word or a phrase or a sentence, or could it be a book or a song or a something?
It could
Anything,
be
huh?
anything,
Anything?
anything.
What's y'all's go-to to keep you centered or to bring you back to center?
Yes.
Okay, Reverend Sally.
I'm going to raise my hand first to give you guys an idea of how to do it. And I want to share the one that Reverend Eloise said one of the Wednesday nights when she was speaking here. She told us, God only God. And I just love that one. I love that one so much. I can't grab it right now, but I love that one so much that I crocheted a cowl neck scarf for myself that had that in Morse code. So God only God, no matter what's happening. I love that one. All right,
love
who's
this.
next?
Y'all better take notes. You know, I know she's gonna put them in the chat, but you know, here's, you know, we're learning and teaching. This is learning and teaching right now. Who else? This is not a time to be a quiet group. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right,
Judith
Alice.
got her
Alice,
hand,
yeah,
and then
Alice
Alice
sends you.
too.
Okay. I mentioned this before women's group a couple of years ago, but I love this. It's in the Science of Mind textbook. And you guys can read this. It's page 555. And the title is I Accept the Fullness of My Own Divine Well-Being. And by the time I read this, about halfway through, I am feeling so good about myself. And there is nothing to worry about. And God is all there is. And it just it sets me straight. I highly recommend it, page 555.
I accept the fullness, what is it, Alice, of God?
I accept the fullness. I close the book. Hold on, let me find it here. I accept the fullness of my own divine well-being.
Of my own divine well-being. Thank you so much. And did I hear Judith? Did I hear Peter? You said Judith?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of them I go to is that quote we've heard many times, that there is one life, that life is God's life,
Yeah,
that life is perfect, and that life is my life now.
that's great.
And then I also, another practice is just to get out and in nature and ground myself in nature. And then the other thing I do is, I'm not sure you were asking for all this, Grady, but the other thing I do is reach out to my prayer partner and ask for prayer.
Mm.
That's beautiful.
And I want to say in asking for prayer, one thing that Reverend Jeff said that really stuck with me, I just loved this. He said every so often he'd call up somebody and say, "Can you remind me who I am? Because I've forgotten."
Mm.
And I love that because it's so true. I think we talked about forgetting earlier, and yeah, I just love that one.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Judith. Sharon,
Mhm.
Sherry.
Yeah, I just thank you for this. And Grady, I love being in Dr. Dan with you. I just kind of just hang. What you say just comes from this place of spark and innocence. And a poem, when you speak, I see the words coming out as poetry from you. And I specifically wanted to hear more of your poetry tonight. And thank you. And what do? I have books all around. The Reverend Jeff's I wake up in the morning and I read about his river metaphors, and not fighting the river and navigating it, navigating life. And I too, like Judith, I spend a lot of time outdoors. And so I don't know if you guys saw the rainbow today, but there was this magnificent rainbow that went across the whole sky. And I just happened to be coming home on 680 and I stopped the car, got my camera out, and I'm running out on the side, taking the picture of the rainbow. So
Oh.
it gives me an excitement. It gives me, oh yeah, life is going on. Life is just perfect as it is, no matter what it is I'm doing or thinking.
Mhm.
And one last thing is the other day, all the black clouds were out, and right in the middle, there was a center, a little hole, and the sun was coming through it. And the rays were coming down from the sun all the way down into the earth. And I just went, oh, I'm like, thank you, thank you. So I say thank you a lot. I say thank you a dozen times a day, a zillion times a day, I think.
Yes,
Thank you.
gratitude.
Thank
is
you.
important.
Both
Thank
of you
you.
for tonight.
Sherry, I don't think you could hear, but when you were going, Miss Grady almost in harmony was going,
Yeah, it's like a song, isn't it? And I'm
Yeah,
singing.
certainly,
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, yay.
Well, I don't
Yes.
see any more hands yet. We'll come back to this. If not, is there
Rev
another
Deb.
question that you
Rev
want to
Deb's got her hand, and
Paul.
then Paul.
That's Paul.
Paul and who?
Rev Deb.
Rev Deb first,
Deb
and then
first.
Okay,
Paul.
let's take them. Keep
All
going.
right. So my thing is my go-to place is always the water. It's like that's like the healing, cleansing place. And that's one of the reasons why I like being here in Savannah, because I have beaches around me and lakes around this area. But
Oh.
also it's like there are times when, and I feel like I get so overwhelmed sometimes with so much information or so many ideas or just not wanting to do anything that I just give it to God. I was just like, I release and I let go. And so I started thinking about playing Ricky Byers' song. And, that song helps to move me through, just to be quiet and be still and just listen to the words that she's singing. So those are my 2 cents.
Mhm.
So thank you.
Yes.
Sounds like more like 3 cents or 4 cents, but yeah, thank you so much for all of that. Paul,
I'd like to address the whole "it's a new dawn, it's a new day" thing you were talking about, that they're kind of the same in a way. But how often do I say, oh, in the middle of the day, when someone brings a truth to me, that never dawned on me. So the dawn for me is when the sun first, I step into the light first. The first of the day, I step into the light. If I'm lucky and fortunate and not get to noon before I get a dawning, or you know what I mean? So so the idea that we're rising up in that moment puts us in an upright position for the day when the light shines on me first thing in the morning. So I have a new sensation of what the dawn means, because it finally dawned on me what dawn means. So if that helps a little bit for me. And my go-to is recent. Even though I've done a lot over the last, I had to figure it out the other day. I started in 2010 at the center. Can you believe it, Sunshine? It seems just like yesterday.
It was yesterday.
That's 14 years ago in January this month.
Wow.
So one of my new go-tos is something that Dr. Dan and I really gravitate towards this, and it brings a fresh moment to me when I come to the realization, and I have all these things stuck on the bottom of my computer in a sequence, but the last one is, and it's new and it happened just recently, and it kind of centers me, and it reminds me when I say this affirmation: I am a self-conscious thinking center of the living spirit. It instantly reminds me of my value in the universe. That
Say it again, Paul.
I am a self-conscious, new dawning, self-conscious thinking center, a holy space of the living spirit. And when I remind myself of that, all of a sudden, whatever's swirling around me, that worry dissipates. I can see everything clearly just in that one. It's a new, it dawns on me in the moment. So
I love
I'm
that.
pleased. Thanks.
Thank you so much, all of you. Miss Grady, is there anything else you want to know from the audience?
Is there anything else I want to know from the audience?
Shall we, if
Lots of things are going on at the center, and I know everything might not resonate with everybody, but we have an ordination coming up.
Saturday.
Right,
So
have-
Reverend Sally paid you to say that. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And also there's a book study, The Big Leap is coming, and we have, I know now.
And Judith paid you to say that. She's on.
And I know we have going on the pivots, from the home office.
Right.
And there are other things, there's the vision board is coming up too. And there's something else I'm trying, I might not be thinking of everything. But, there's something, and still we have the Tuesday, Thursday, the sanctuary is open for anyone who would care to come and walk the labyrinth or sit and pray or whatever. So there's lots of things and maybe more things coming. So see if there's something that you just might want to do, just because it's available and you're able to do it, your time frame, it fits in, then just try something. Because I think that when I open up this little book, and read the information on the fear, and also in that little book, the declarations of principles are in there. There's a lot of information in this little tiny book. And I'm definitely enjoying doing the abundance book. So I'm glad to have things going so that I keep moving forward.
Mhm. Keep moving forward.
Mhm.
Keep moving forward.
Right.
You live forward, right? Remember, we heard that today, living forward. And therefore, you're able to step into a new dawn, into a new day. Let it dawn on you
Mm.
what spirit is telling you or what you already know. Go talk to somebody, say some of these affirmations, read the book, come to church, walk the labyrinth. What else? It might listen to some music,
Music.
Dr.
go in
Dan.
the water and let it go. What else did we hear?
Dr. Dan, Dr.
Dr.
Dan.
Dan, I knew it was gonna come up. About 5
Thank you.
times I heard Dr. Dan today.
Yes.
She's definitely a Dr. Dan or this one here.
Mhm.
She brings her Dr. Reverend Sally, she has her Dr. Dan book right over there. She brought 3 books. I love it. Talk to your prayer partner, go see your practitioner, watch for the rainbows, read the books, be in the outdoors with nature. You know, we heard so many things here. Is there anything else anybody else wants to say that has not spoken up?
Yeah. Yes,
Yes, I heard a yes. Who?
Judith.
Judith.
Well, Dr. Reverend Deb talked about listening to music. She mentioned Ricky Byers, but also singing. Singing, singing from ourselves, either with somebody or with a recording, or just singing whatever, it's very healing. It's very
Beautiful.
beautiful to just sing.
It's beautiful.
Mhm.
And you know, it's in the newsletter and we put it in there to advertise in partnership with the Interfaith Council of Alameda County. But I think it's this coming, look in the newsletter. It's either this Saturday or next Saturday. It's a vocalist as well as the Interfaith Gospel Choir is performing right here in Oakland. The tickets are affordable. Go to that. Dr. Judith, you have something to add?
And then Sharon.
You're
Judith, go
muted.
ahead. You're muted. Yeah.
Dr. Judith has her hand up though, right?
Yeah, she does.
Uh-huh.
She's trying to find the unmute button, I
Oh.
bet you.
Maybe we can go to Sharon. Sharon, did you have something to say in the meantime? No. Oh, okay. You had your hands up. Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, well, Dr. Judith, when she finds it was something else I was gonna say. Oh, singing, Judith Roberts talked about singing, made me think of Robert Leeds. I saw him walking out of the bookstore he said, I bought a singing bowl. He was so excited. He had a big one too. I said, do you know how to work that? He said, oh yeah. So, you know, a singing bowl is something that you can, it's like an instrument that you can allow to chime and to sing.
Right.
Dr. Judith, you ready yet? We only have 2 minutes left. Any last minute comments, anybody?
Make a joyful noise unto the Lord.
Make a joyful noise in what way, Alice?
And
More.
always.
Music, singing, crying, laughing. Be in your
Thank you. Megan's hand went up. Megan?
Thank you for the blessing of tonight. Thank you both, Reverend Sunshine and Grady. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Megan?
When you said that chanting at the end of yoga, always the Om is a very good thing. Feel the vibration in your body.
Oh, I love that, to chant. Yes, this has been so rich, so rich. And I'm sure there's more. Like, you know, let's talk about it again some other time where we discover more practices. Miss Grady, we have 1 minute left. I'm going to give you the last word. What you want to say to him?
What do I want to say? I think music and I have never been in a gospel, Baptist church and wanted to shout and had to shout. I almost couldn't thought about not coming to church because the shouting would not come out. Now, I shouted once, and I know you made a comment, and so did Kev. Feel free to. I don't want to scare people by, shouting, hallelujah.
Right, well, it's okay with me.
That's
Wait,
okay.
and I'm the senior minister. If you want to come and say that in church on Sunday, I want you to do it.
It might scare some people that are not used to it.
Well, but listen, let me tell you,
Okay.
if we talk about being
Wake 'em
diverse
up.
and inclusive,
Mhm.
then we have all forms of expression, and that comes from our culture. And we're not of the traditional religion where we necessarily
Mhm.
encourage that.
Mhm.
However, if
Mhm.
you don't let it out, then you're suppressing God.
Well, yes, but it got to the point where when I did it that one time, it had to, because it would not come out.
Well, work on that then.
Okay.
And how about laughter?
Work on it.
Laughter's good.
Laughter, how about
To
laughter?
explain, and we had some young people who I haven't seen here lately, who were just, you could tell that they liked that invitation, and I could hear them doing a call and response with me. It was just so joyful. So that is another way that we rise into the new day. Well, thank
Okay.
you, Miss Grady, for coming, and
Thank
I
you
so
all.
let's give some snaps and claps to Miss Grady Nobles.
Thank you all. for
And you,
coming. It was
thank you,
wonderful.
Reverend Sunshine.
Yes.
Yay
Wonderful.
to us.
Dynamic duo.
Love you all. And Reverend Sally, you got the helm.
Way to go, way to go. I told you you needed to buckle up this evening, and I think you can see why. And I am sure, let me just say, please come back, Reverend Sunshine and Grady May. This is so much fun, so much learning, so much energy. If you haven't already, please take a copy of the chat. There is a lot of good information out there. So thank you, beloveds. This has been so much fun. And now I get the opportunity to share with you more of what's going on at the center. So Peter's going to bring up our slide presentation so that we can share with you what is going on. All right. So this coming Sunday, January 14th, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman will be speaking on It's a New Day. You got a preview this evening. Our meditation begins at 10 a.m. in the sanctuary, and the service begins at 10:30. Now, next Wednesday, January 17th, we'll be joined by Jessica Chris. She is a practitioner from CSL Santa Cruz. She's coming back. She's been here before on Wednesday night, and her conversation topic is, again, It's a New Day. Meditation begins at 6:30 and the service begins at 7 on Zoom. I invite you to join our 2024 daily community spiritual practice. Using the Abundance Book, you can see the picture of it on the slide. It's the Abundance Book 40-Day Prosperity Plan. Today, we were on the 10th affirmation, and you can follow along daily. And every Wednesday at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you can come on to Zoom using this Zoom link, the Wednesday night Zoom link, and join in the conversation with Reverend Sunshine on what's going on with this abundance book. And I can tell you, I've already had some manifestations, some demonstrations because of working with this abundance book. So I look forward to joining next Wednesday, 3 p.m. on Zoom. The Women's Spiritual Empowerment Group is back. It started last Sunday, and the next session is January 21st. So we invite you to sign up on the events page so that Reverend Jerry and Reverend Catherine will know how many to expect each time the group meets. Come celebrate with us this Saturday. Reverend Ikea Param and I will be going through our ordination ceremony. This is a sacred ritual that we go together with our community, and you're invited this Saturday, 10:30 a.m. You can RSVP to Reverend Kathy Sharmer, sharmerkathy@gmail.com. And we have another opportunity coming up, the Big Leap, a 6-week class with practitioner Judith Roberts. It's going to take place on Zoom. It starts Tuesday, January 16th, and it begins at 6:30 p.m. for 6 weeks. Be sure to sign up on the upcoming classes and workshops page. And one more thing, join the fun at the 2024 Vision Board Party. You guys know about this party. It is fabulous, and it helps us to set our intentions for the new year. It'll take place Saturday, January 20th, and the social hall will be open from 11 to 4 p.m. And you can sign up on the events page, and there is a cap on how many people we can have in the social hall. So be sure to sign up, get your spot. This month's nonprofit partner is Lend a Hand Foundation. Their mission is to enhance the quality of life for underserved children, youth, and families in our city, county, and by offering educational, financial, literacy, health, and wellness support and resources. Check them out. Visit csl.org to see what's happening within the larger Centers for Spiritual Living organization, and navigate yourself to our website. There is so much happening at our center. If you have any questions, the individuals shown on this slide are your contact people. Navigate to the website www.oaklandcsl.org. Sign up for the weekly newsletter. If you happen to be scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, make sure that you take time to like what we post on these social media platforms and to leave a comment, because when you do those two things, subscribe, well, 3 things, subscribe, like, and place a comment, even if all you say is hallelujah, it brings our search engine results higher in the listing. So please do that, like and subscribe. All right. I think I've talked myself out of announcements, and now we get to go into the joyous giving time. And I say joyous because what I know for sure is as I give, I do receive. And you've seen tonight how Grady and Reverend Sunshine came and they shared their wisdom with us. This is part of that law, the system that says yes, and the law of circulation. As we give, we receive. And so I'm going to invite us to think about what we give financially to the center. And as we hold that awareness within our hearts, we're going to say our giving affirmation. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies this offering. It blesses all that I am, all that I give, and all that I circulate. Thank you, love, as me. So you might be asking yourself, how do I give? Well, you can navigate yourself to the website, click on that donate icon, and when you do, you'll be given several ways to give to the center financially. You can do it via Zelle, you can do it via text, you can do it via the Oakland Center. Come to the center on Sunday and give to the giving basket. Many ways to give to the center. All right, I think I have talked myself out of the announcements, except for the most important thing. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so grateful for everything that we get to do at this center. I'm grateful for our speakers, Reverend Sunshine and Grady. I'm grateful to the tech team that makes this Zoom process go with ease and grace. I'm grateful to Steve Carter, our new operations coordinator, who gives us the information we need. And I'm grateful to you, everyone who participates in the activities at the Oakland Center. So, like we do with everything, we close out in prayer, and I believe I'm going to turn it over to Reverend Sunshine for that.
Yes, yes. So let us come together, beloveds, in this moment of joyous gratitude and appreciation, supreme appreciation for all of our blessings, for being in beloved community, for being able to be here on this this call tonight, for the technology to support us, for the team to support us, the fact that we are living and breathing and moving and in our right minds, as my grandma would say, on this side of the veil, offering our gifts, receiving our blessings, giving of ourselves from a place of faith and strength and trust, and trusting in the universe and its abundance and its supply, its divine source as us. All of this is our bounty and our blessing that we get to behold, that we get to receive, that we get to appreciate, and to grow in consciousness to embrace it even more. So grateful, so grateful, so grateful. I bless each and every person that has graced us with their presence tonight. I bless the divine holy presence, all of our ancestors and our guides that lead us along the way, that walk with us on either side, in front, behind, above, below, and all around. And so as we go our separate ways this evening onto a beautiful night's slumber and whatever else that we have going, we do so in grace, with ease, with flow, with abundance, and with graciousness and grace. We let it be, we give thanks for it, and we simply rested in joyous expectancy, expecting the good, expecting the great. And so it is.
And so it is. Amen.
So it